Hi everybody and welcome to another Webinarium episode, this time in English. My name is Andrey Shtylenko, and for those who know or those who don't in English, Webinarium is an online show, mostly in Serbian language. Sometimes we have other guests, as today in English, and it talks about online business, talks about motivation, talks about basically business in general, but I interview people who have done things and have tried things, and through talking with them and through their experience and advice, we try to give you some advice about how you can grow personally and grow your business. I want to thank you, say a big thank you to our friends and partners, so Infostud company, Unlimited Hosting, and TopTal, the world's new freelance platform, who you can check out the link somewhere here in the episode. Okay, our guest today is somebody who I have met a long time ago, and basically I never saw since live in that sense, but we communicated online and tried to have several meetings and events, but it didn't pan out. So I'm very glad to have him today on the show. And basically today's show is all about, again, the importance of networking, the importance of personal growth. So basically it's called Grow With Your Business. And my guest today is Andrey Shtylenko. Andrey is currently in Split. Hi, Andrey, how are you? Is it in Split or in Zagreb?
No, I'm in Zagreb actually.
Oh,
Hi.
Good. Excellent.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you for having the time. So, Andrey, please tell our audience, who is Andrey? How did you come to be in Croatia? And why are we talking in English? Because Andrey Shtylenko is not a Croatian name.
I'm Russian born, but for the last 12 or 13 years, I haven't been really living back in my motherland. I've been living in too many different places. After I finished my college, I went to the United States. I lived 2.5 years in Boston, doing some research and working, and then I went back to Russia to start some of the projects. And very shortly, I lived a couple of years in Europe, then back, and then I decided to move to Croatia, where I am right now. It was a time of romantic feeling when I wanted to buy an apartment on the island and see how it works out. It didn't work out very well because living on the island has its own, cons and pros. And in winter, you're like living with other 10 or 20 people on the island, and then in summer you have like 100,000 people. So you're like living in between two extremes. So now I'm in Zagreb mostly, just like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Andrey, you have done a lot of trainings about networking and personal development. Now, as far as I know, you're a teacher at one of the Zagreb universities. So what does Andrey do for a living? And you also help startups. So can you explain to our audience, so what is your field of expertise and what do you do right now?
Sure. Good question. People are always confused about that because I'm doing too many different things at the same time. And maybe this talk would be interesting also as well to people who cannot really stick to one thing in their life. Mm-hmm. And that's me. There are people who have discipline, who have passion for just one thing. And there are people who are multidisciplinarians, who are in everything, and they have too many different interests in the same time. So that's my story. I've never been just into just one thing, so I'm kind of going with the flow a lot and taking on different projects that are interesting. But majority of my time, I'm concentrated in. There are different parts. First of all, I do teach about entrepreneurship in one of the Russians' biggest universities. It's in Russia. It's in Vladivostok. It's actually next to China, where I have my two groups of graduate and undergraduate students. I teach entrepreneurship, full semester length program. At the same time, what I teach, I practice in my own businesses, which I have multiple, and they all somehow connected with digital marketing, career, performance marketing. So one of the another businesses actually is a Wi-Fi marketing platform It's called Zap. Another project that you have heard of course, it's the biggest freelance marketplace in Croatia, freelance.hr. And at the same time, I'm mentoring and coaching in multiple incubation acceleration programs around the regions, and speak a lot, teach a lot, coach a lot, things like that. Yeah.
So how do you track all of the things? I'm getting a feeling that you don't need a 2D calendar, you need a 3D, like with depth and like overlapping.
Yeah, it's not that easy. It kind of maybe I don't think it's actually good. I think the productivity actually is being hurt, but it depends on your natural predispositions whether you can focus on one thing or many things. And some people just cannot stay with one thing for a long time. They get bored, so they try to switch to another project. So my schedule is pretty hectic in the terms that I try to split my days into 3 parts, and then I plan. Each part is like 3 hours, and then for each part I assign a specific project, a specific business. So I'm not getting at least during the day I get in touch with 2 or 3 businesses at the same time. So I have people who are my partners and employees in other companies. So I'm not always involved into operational stuff. It's majority of the meetings, Skype calls, and things like that.
Okay, so you teach and practice a lot of entrepreneurship, and right now, hearing this, one question comes to mind. So basically,
Sure.
where is, people can be good entrepreneurs, or sometimes they can be good teachers. Where is the line where you are both and choose to be both somebody who, helps people, gives them advice about how to be good entrepreneurs, and also leads several good businesses?
Yeah, I mean, there are of course people who are just teachers and not practitioners, and you can actually learn from this kind of people. Those people either do research or read the books, talk to people, and then they package this information and then they give this information away. Sometimes not for free. There are other people who are good practitioners but not good teachers, and I think for me personally it works out better when you pack this all together, because nothing that I teach about is not what I actually tried myself. Mm-hmm. And because there is a big difference between what you think you know and what you actually do, and people generally think that whatever they know, that actually changes their life patterns, but this is completely wrong perspective. Because it's better just to do things, and sometimes even if you don't understand things, but they work out for you, it's better just to do them. Mm-hmm. So practice rules. When you practice, you actually understand a lot better what you are doing. So in my teaching, I teach about what actually worked for me, and as well for the companies that I've been mentoring myself. So mentorship part and teaching part, it not only helps you to structure your own practice and your own experience, but also lets you see other cases, lets you see what other strategies and tactics worked out for other companies. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So basically, you are an entrepreneur here in this region, basically, and also you have a great experience, and that you've been to the US, you've been to Russia, you've been all over the world. So what would you take about, or what is your take about entrepreneurship now in the region? So what are some of the what do today's entrepreneurs lack, or people lack to be entrepreneurs, in the sense that why people, don't become, or, how can people become better entrepreneurs now?
Well, from what I see, there is
A clarification question, because
kind of a broad thing.
Clarification question. Many people, are in this region are talking about, we have a lack of business. There is no jobs. People go out, decide maybe they want to be freelance. Maybe I have the skills. Maybe I don't have the skills. Being freelancer, being in business, it's similar. It's not completely the same, being as a freelancer or building a business as yourself. So where is that line where what do people need to be pushed into, stop complaining and, just do some things in that sense? Well, is entrepreneurship solution, or is it something specific that only specific people can thrive at?
Well, I think definitely entrepreneurship and knowing, how to build businesses, how to succeed in business. Well, first of all, it's a skill. It's not something it's not a talent that you've been, born with. That's for sure. But getting back to, maybe I think what's difference between entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs is, first of all, entrepreneurs, they try to take responsibility and not put this responsibility on others, and that's what I think is the biggest difference between entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs. When you feel that you can actually take responsibility on yourself first, then you can take responsibility on your family and on other people who can work for you. Then when you can put together this synergetic power and create something bigger. And people who cannot take responsibility on themselves, these are people who actually, go work for somebody else. Being entrepreneur is about, because I think many people just misunderstand the term, and I'm not here to actually to give the term or the correct term, but I think those people who can create something, to create a value, and create a synergy out of not only themselves by putting together some other resources and people's experience and knowledge, and create something new. And another thing is that entrepreneurs are not managers, so there's a big difference actually. Entrepreneurs are the ones who create the systems for creating additional value, and then they give those businesses to managers who would make sure that those businesses stay alive. So there's a big difference in between that. So entrepreneurs are needed to launch the company, to create those systems, and managers are, vital to have them work. So that's actually the difference. And I think that these are two different social patterns, that you cannot be at the same time a good entrepreneur and a good manager, because managers are the ones who actually preserve, and entrepreneurs are the ones who actually break rules and create new rules and create new systems.
Cool. So I never heard this, but it's something that is very familiar to me. Basically, my business partner in Israel is the actual, I look at the big picture, I'm just giving you stuff, and I go crazy. Like, you can't do this, like, we need to stay alive, and stuff like that. So, it's touching points. Okay, so what are... Okay, if we talk about entrepreneurs, or if we talk about managers, I'm also going to get the point that when you say that entrepreneurs need to take responsibility, but they also need to have enough trust in their employees to not micromanage. Because, for example, I know by myself, I had problems in past years about micromanagement, and don't start anything that you can't finish yourself or something like that, and then you get in trouble because you go like this, and you don't give people the task, because the thinking is, while I explain something to him, I'll do it twice as fast. So how do entrepreneurs give people the trust to lead their business?
That's one of the key questions, actually, because you cannot build big systems just by yourself. So you have to realize that this is why you need employees, actually. But I mean, we live in the times when technology gives us enormous opportunities, when you know, you should not you know, have 1,000 employees in order to have, you know, $1 billion company. But at the same time, you know, time is limited, and that's actually the secret of I think the secret and the biggest talent in life is how to create synergies with other people, and that's, I think, the most important in life. And that's why it actually touches the networking. That's why I love talking about networking. So when you ask me, you know, about delegation and how to delegate effectively and how not to micromanage, well, I'm not perfect in it. I'm not perfect in it, and I cannot say that. You know, my companies are small. The companies I worked for myself, my own companies, up to 4 people. And you know, I think we just have to understand that it really matters to, you know, we have to put in the team with other people who know stuff better than us, and then let them just work. And you know, I think in the beginning you have to start from the complete trust. If you're taking on people on board, you have to start with them like you are by default trusting them. And until they hurt you and until they, you know, disrespect that trust that you gave them, you, of course, in the beginning you have to check and you have to understand, okay, whether the work is done. But with each employee on every phase of let's say corporate lifetime, you deal differently, of course, with the newbies, and depending on how much the experience this person has. Of course, you have to, you know, track them, you have to correct them and things like that. But I don't know. It's like that.
Okay, so when we talk about networking and the importance of networking, so it's one thing, and it's very hard to start your own business, but that's a kind of a step that everybody that, you know, passes over it, you know, thinks, okay, I started my own business and I'm done. You know, it's like that. But the real pains only then start. So I always talk to people that that first of all are not in the position to even start their own business, but like rather than you know, lots of unemployment, lots of people unsatisfied, lots of people talking, sitting in their homes and, you know, saying I can't have a job, but their primary, you know, the primary valve letting out steam is sitting in their home, pumping, I can't have a job, and I'm sitting in my 4 walls, and
that's like responsibility that we just talked about.
Yeah, and this is something that I always talk to them. Okay, go out, you know, go meet people, network, and not by networking in the sense of like you know, drag people by the sleeve and I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. You know, go, you know, learn English, learn music, learn how to dance, and you'll meet people who'll meet people who'll meet people. Then, you know, that's how you create your first personal, then your business network. How important is networking after you take that step in business, and where can you find the opportunities to network?
Okay, I think I'll explain the concept from a bit of a different end.
Okay.
I think networking is important to understand that networking and your social capital is just one of the resources that you have. And I think that in life generally we have 6 types of resources. And as I told earlier, that I think the secret of life is the ability to manage those resources effectively. So those 6 resources are our own time, our financial resources, our material resources, our health, our social capital. That's how many people you know and how many people knows you, and of course your intellectual resources. So these are six resources that we have less or more depending on where we are and what type of phase of life we are in right now. So business is exchanging those resources between other people and companies. And networking and ability to network is actually the skill to how good you can manage this resource of your social capital. In this way, you know, I think that social capital is one of the key resources human can actually have. First of all, because it's not, social capital is one of the most energetic one. You probably know, and you probably know so many different stories in your personal life when some people just popped up in your life and created a lot of synergy, or you could, you know, just together when just launch some new projects that created some money or opportunities and things like that. So I think with social capital you can do a lot more good than just with money or material things like that.
Okay, but so that's your definition of networking. So, and how do people find value in networking? So when we talk, and let's imagine that the public and the audience is somebody who has, you know, less social capital in that sense, and does, even if he has social capital, he considers them like friends. So he doesn't have like
Sure.
networking, business capital in that sense. So how do you switch from just making sure that you don't go to an event and you stand in the corner and, you know, like, I went there, but, you know, I went to a conference, the lecturers were okay, and, you know, did you meet anybody? No, I didn't meet anybody. Did you have a chance? I didn't have a chance because, you know, I just have a friend here, and he'll recognize himself when I talk to him. He went to a big conference. He went abroad somewhere. I said, so how many people did you meet? Well, I didn't meet anybody. What did you do? Well, I went to, you know, lectures. They were awesome. Okay, lectures you can see on stream. You know, why did you go if you didn't meet anybody?
Yeah.
So how do you switch from one like mindset to the other? And how can you do that? So for people who want to do that but don't know how to make that step.
Okay, well, I don't have you know, a defined answer on that, but let me put some ideas. First of all, I think that people, you have to understand how much more different people can bring value into your life. That's, I think we should start with that. And as I often say, you know, if after you have some major life event, positive life event, and if you track back this life event to some time when it all started, you probably will track it back to a meeting with a specific person, you know, who gave you an advice, who referred you a book, who referred you another contact, or who opened some other opportunities for you. And you know, even if you recall any of your big life events, you can always track to a meeting with the person. So first step, I think it's really, you have to understand that, you know, the biggest synergies in life, the big effects in life we can get from meeting other people, and there should be some sort of value in this and understanding of value in this. You know, I was growing up myself as a geek, as a programmer. I didn't see a lot of potential and a lot of value in this myself. I never thought that, you know, my friends or my acquaintances can bring, you know, some good in my life. But my story is I lived in 2.5 years in the States, where I was actually, instead of you know, doing a research, I was supposed to organize a lot of different networking events, conferences, and things like that. So I learned it by practice, and that's after I understood that you can actually make a lot of synergy. You can do a lot of good things together with other people. Like, I'll give you an example of, like, and actually, you know, when this kind of big major life changes happen in your life and you track it back to meeting with a specific person, you never at that time realize that this person will influence your life, you know, in such a major way. Last company I sold, popustalovac.hr, website for retailer discounts. You know, I sold it because I was one of my, how to say, the landlord of the apartment where I lived in Split used to work in a company who later acquired this company. So not that, you know, it was when I met my landlord, I never knew that he would be that bridge to the pitch that later will transform into acquisition. So I think that's the mindset that everybody should, keep in mind, that, any person in life has a very interesting story and potentially can connect you to an opportunity or another person. And usually we are like, okay, we are judging, of course, whether this specific person can help us directly. Mm-hmm. And this is fine. But what we always forget is that probably this person can be a bridge to another person who can himself or herself help us. So that's the first. Be open-minded. Be not, people are closed, people are judgmental. If you see somebody who who doesn't look like your potential client, people already, just shut up. Mm-hmm. But having this open mindset helps a lot in understanding, okay, that this person can actually help.
Yep. Yeah, okay. So we have two types of networking. I would deduct from this. So we have one type that from what I said first, and then what you just now confirmed is like go out, meet people, expand your social network, because you never know which connection will later on in life bring you value, some sort of value. So yep. Place those goodwill deposits, and basically you never know when you can collect them later on, or Absolutely. When somebody will return them to you. So, but the other kind of networking is, for example, you said you organized a lot of networking events. So people go to a conference, go to a networking event with, and again, I'm not comparing this to sales, because people will connect it to sales, but they should make a distinction between what is networking and what is sales. But on the other hand, networking by design, in the sense I'm going to the event with the intention to network, not by meeting people by chance, like let's go off and join and grab a dance lesson together. Sure. I'm going to a business event to network, but not sell. So can you, for example, give me your experience in that? How do people do that, with intention to network? Because people by chance, go out, meet people, do some things. You never know. But for those closed-minded people, for those less, I want to meet people, but I don't know how to approach them. I don't know what to ask in an event. How do I chit-chat? How do I open myself without selling, of course?
Sure. Well, usually people think that, the hardest part about the networking is just how to approach new people and how to initiate a small talk. So they think that they don't know some sort of tricks or tips on what to say, how to stand, what sort of, posture to take, where to do it. But these are little tricks that can help if you learn them. But I think the most important is having an open mindset. Mm-hmm. That's the most important. It's like if you know all the tricks in your life, and you're going to be you're not going to have as many opportunities, you're not going to have as many new contacts as just staying open. First of all, when you go to any event, first of all, of course, you need to understand what's your goal. For this event. And that's actually big thing, because majority of people just live through life without understanding why they are doing what they're doing. And I learned that luckily many years ago, when my first mentor said, Andrey, whatever you're doing, think, why you're doing this. So every time you go to an event, understand clearly where you're going at. What's your personal goal for this event? And conferences specifically right now, as you correctly said, I also believe that are made for networking. Because majority of the conferences, even paid ones, right now have live streaming. So what you actually miss is this, interaction and engagement with people. So once you go there and you understand what sort of your type of goals you want to achieve, and as I said, social capital is about, how other people can help you in your problems. So it's important to know what sort of problems you actually have. Mm-hmm. Many times I ask people, tell me number one challenge that you have in life, and very rarely people come up with this. And maybe if just one thing that you can take out of this webinar, just sit together, sit with a sheet of paper and write down 3 major challenges you have in life. And once you have it, now you can build a strategy how other people can actually help you. Because nobody can help you if you don't know what your challenges are. So if you go into the conferences, that probably, because with this investment of your time, you want probably to advance in one of your challenges. So you probably want to find on this conference either somebody who can help you with advice, or somebody who can become a part of your support group, or somebody who you can help yourself, so in order to build a relationship that will later bring you some benefits. So these are, things that you're probably looking for. So that's why when you go into the conference, take a look at what sort of speakers are there in the conference. Can you connect them? What sort of different attendees potentially can be there? Are they your potential clients? Are your potential supporters? Are your potential, maybe you can find a mentor over there, things like that. So as I talked about the resources, you need to be very clear with yourself. Okay, what do you have? What sort of resources you can have? And what sort of resources are you lacking? And when I'm talking about the challenges, these are the challenges. Okay, what are resources you're actually lacking? So for example, let me give you an example. Let's say I want to add on some 10 kilos. I want to,
don't look at me. I don't
yes,
know.
yes.
I don't know how to do that. This comes all naturally.
Yeah. So let's say I'm
Everybody
trying for
wants to lose weight. Why did you want to add on? So you're like, guys, don't listen to him.
So let's take this advice. So I would go probably to the conference of people who can potentially help me advance in my physique. In other words, they would help me with my health resource. So I would go to a conference where I would probably, of course, learn about nutrition, exercise, and things like that. But the most what I'm looking for is find somebody who can either become my mentor, who can, for example, work with me as a sports coach, or give me an advice on nutrition or anything. Or I would want to, find people who are in the same situation as me, who are going in the same direction, or also, 37 kilos as I am, and probably want to get more at 20 kilos. Because that's important, not only to have somebody who can help you with the advice and experience, but with whom you can actually stay in the same support group.
Yeah.
Like, building communities. So that's what you want. That's sort of people you would like to hang out, meet, and I think this is the biggest help that you can get, and you can reach your goals as fast as possible when you're having a mentor or support group.
And people should know that today, when you go to events, you're most likely to meet people who actually want to talk, who are open in that sense. It's not like, I don't want to get to him because he'll look at me and he'll say, why you came here, don't bother me in that sense. That's a very...
Let me just, very briefly, I'll give maybe just, 3 or 5 tactics.
Yeah, sure, of course.
So first of all, on the conference environments, as you now understand that conferences are built and carried for as many people as possible to meet together. With this sort of mindset, you go there, and now you understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong about coming to anyone who you don't know, introducing yourself, and start talking with them. So there is nothing wrong completely with just initiating the conversation. On the conference environment, nobody will look at you like you are some weird guy. If you come, introduce yourself, extend your hand confidently, and start the conversation. So don't be afraid, don't be scared that people will not accept you. Secondly, people ask me all the time, how do I start the conversation? On the conference environment, there are different ways, but you should just know one specific phrase. You just extend your hand and you just say, "Hi, I'm Andrey, have we ever met before?" That's it. That's already enough, absolutely enough to start the conversation. If somebody is standing alone, and if somebody is standing alone with their phone on the conference, most probably those people are lost and they don't know how to engage with other people. So save those people by coming to them and starting the conversation. They will be thankful, absolutely, that you came and talked with them. And don't be judgmental to how people are dressed, how people are young or old, because you never know who would be that specific person. Because majority of people who I met and who really helped in my life, they looked like freaks, and I would never, from the first sight, I would say that they, somebody who would ever help me. So don't be judgmental on that.
Okay.
Okay, I can go on for hours on that.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of tactics there. Okay, so okay, how okay, when we talk about how we can identify people, when we went over the first step and we decided we want to approach people, and how can we identify people who can we benefit from versus those who basically you don't want to be connected with? And I need to ask this because are there any people you do not want to be connected with? So are there people that can hurt those connections in that sense, in any way?
Absolutely. Very good question. I think when I have my own policy on that, and I think that I see this policy, being used by a lot of high-value, high-status people, and the policy is very simple. All people, you can divide all people on the type of the mentality of givers and takers.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm personally trying to avoid, I'm personally trying to avoid takers. So the takers are the one who just take your energy, take your resources, and never multiply and never create anything meaningful out of this help that you can give them. And givers by other extreme, these are people who can take, then create something out of it and give you back or give to the world even bigger. So what we want, so my policy is that I try to work as much as possible, and I try to connect with people who can take from you something, but then create even a bigger effect from what you take. Let me give you an example. For example, if somebody is asking me for an advice about the book, I can give an advice about the book. I don't mind. But then, if this person disappears completely forever, that means that the person just used you to take some information from you, and you never know whether this person ever, implemented this information. But there are other people, givers, on the other hand, would take your advice seriously. They would buy this book, they would read this book, and then they send you an email later, and they would say, you know what, I read this book, and I implemented this from the book, and you know what, here's what I got, here's my result out of your advice. So just investing 3 minutes of my time by giving an advice about the book, this person took this advice and created something bigger of that. So this is a giver mentality. So what we want to have as many more people around us who are givers, because they are multipliers of resources that we have. Yeah. So we just give them 3 minutes, and then out of those 3 minutes, they create something big. So you want to be around this sort of people, and you want to be a giver yourself, of course.
And it's so important to stress that that givers and people that you want to be around with are not, or who are connected to, are not necessarily everything that you are gonna get, I don't know, material benefit from. Mm-hmm. It's like this interview. We're giving back to the audience. We're sharing our experiences. We're hopefully somebody will say thank you. And one or two thank yous is basically enough for me. And I get enough emails and stuff from the audience that you know, gives us the energy to continue this show for 2 years now, and still going strong, and will go strong as long as there is an audience. And for you, it's also the same thing. So okay,
this is actually a very good example of the synergy between us. You know, you are giving what you have, the audience. I'm giving what I have, my time and experience and knowledge, and together we create a lot value for everybody who are here listening to us.
Yes.
So that's the power of networking again.
Exactly. And we met by accident when we were, you know, like 3-4 years ago, when we were visiting co-working in Zagreb. So fantastic. Okay, so how can people identify events they want to go to meet people? Or, you know, not events, not necessarily events, or, you know, situations they want to be put in so that they can extend their social network?
First of all, as I already said, it helps a lot to understand what you really want. And that's once you have this, you know, life transforms dramatically. So, but generally, if you are asking for example, what sort of events or places or happenings can you go to meet people you want to be around? Generally, for networking, so there are places and events which are that have this warm context where people will not look at you like you're a crazy one when you come and introduce yourself. There is a big difference when you come and introduce yourself when you are in a conference or in a networking event, or when you are on the street. So, you know, I have nothing, you know, I'm cool with, you know, I can come to any person on the street and introduce myself. I will not be ashamed. But people who are not yet advanced as much, they should start their work and train themselves in this warm sort of environments. So first of all, there are two types of events and places that you can get as maximum effect as possible. These are educational events or educational programs, and then the conferences and networking events. So these are two are major ones. And I think that educational is actually a lot better one. Because when you are going into any sort of education program, you are with a group of people who have the same goals as you do. So you are already in your support group. So there is a very high chance that you will find a lot of people who would, you know, help you in your advancement. It helps when these educational programs, or, you know, like for example, if you know the same thing with conferences, like educational, let's say MBA programs. You know, you can get all this stuff online. You can get this stuff on Coursera or whatever. So what you pay for is actually the ability to be with this kind of people in the same group. It helps a lot if these are educational events and conferences are paid, because on the free events and on the free education, there is a lot of social garbage, how to say. There are people who just appeared there without any reasons. But if the entrance ticket is high, you know, you will make sure that there will be some quality people. So usually on the programs and on the conferences, actually the price for the entrance is actually a filter, nothing else but the filter for the specific kind of people. So you pay not to get the content, you pay to actually for the advancement or an ability to talk to this sort of people. And people do mistake when they pay this high price and then they don't go to the after party and they don't mingle and they don't try to engage. So education and of course the conferences and networking. Now there are a lot of different events specifically targeted for networking, like networking breakfasts, business networking, when you just come and meet as many people as possible. This is a good thing, and conferences a lot now start introducing the concept of speed networking in their program. I myself do speed networking facilitation for the conferences, is when the event, 2 hours event, usually at the end of the first day, when you put together with all other people, and the goal is to meet as many more people as possible, and within 2 hours you can meet like 30 people. And if you have something on like that on the conference program, go there every time. From my experience, and I know the feedback from the organizers, every time you do the speed networking, it's rated always on the highest from the conference program. So that means that everybody values the speed networking part more than any sort of other type of module or panel or talk. So if you have that, go there for sure.
I'm just gonna give my take on speed networking for those of you watching us. You know, if you're doing multiple stuff like me and Andrey are, pick one on speed networking. If you try to say everything that you do, you look, you know, really silly and unserious. I'm talking from personal experience.
That's,
you know, like I was very young, you know, again, a couple of years ago. I actually had 2 different types of ID cards, you know, like business cards. Like, yeah, I do this, and actually I do also this. So, you know, whatever whatever interests you most, you know, because and that, you know, it kind of lacks focus. So pick one, you know, set a goal, as Andrey says, for what is your, you know, goal for that speed event, a speed networking event, and those people that are there. So, right, Andrey,
yeah,
did you
very good.
Did you in any case have an opportunity to say, what do you do? Or actually, I do this, but you know, if you're interested, I do also, you know, papers and milk, and I also clean rugs, and you know, like, but yeah, I do digital marketing too.
Yeah, that's your positioning. We as humans, we have different sides, and you should understand, when every time you introduce yourself, you should understand, okay, from the very beginning, which of your sides you would like to show. And as much as you're gonna show different sides, people can be confused. At the same time, it's the same if you are trying to apply for a job and you have multiple skills. You don't want to put all your skills into one resume and then send the same resume to all the employees. You want to have a specific resume for this specific employer, where you will highlight the skills that are required by this employer. This is the same as for networking. You have to kind of make your first judgment who you are speaking to, depending on the context, the text, depending on the event, and then present yourself like that. And then, of course, when you start building relationships, you can uncover other sides of your...
Good. Actually, now, for the last question, a very sensitive one. So, when we talk about networking, of course, we talk about the value of networking later on in life. And you never know who's going to help you somewhere. But that's one part of networking. The other part of networking is meeting people that you can later, you know, initiate in some sort of help, business, you know, mentorship, sponsorship, you know, something. So what is your take and advice on how to step from, hey, Andrey, I'm Shtylenko, I'm interested in networking, I'm fascinated by you, just wanted to say hi, and then we get off talking, into now say, okay, hi, Andrey, thank you for being a guest for our show. You know, now I need this, and this from you in that sense. So basically, how do you start monetizing your networking or social capital?
Very good, very good. This is actually the difference between people who are very aggressive in networking, as aggressive as bad salesmen.
Okay.
The mindset, I think, should be is that you don't have to expect to get value straight on from the first meeting. So the mindset should be, okay, your network will start monetizing at some specific level of trust. And you have to earn this specific level of trust with your time investment, with your resources investment. So I call this strategy a strategy of small steps. in order for us to, start the meaningful projects together, first we have to, have a small talk. We have to explain. We have to ask for, what sort of problem or challenge the person has. We would like to invest some time. We would like to invest some resources. And we would like to have another meeting, and then another meeting, and then maybe some little help, and then maybe some little project, and then maybe some project which is going to be a little bit bigger, and then you grow like that. You cannot get the expectation is usually, okay, I'm just going to meet this person and we're just going to make a deal of $1 million. No, it takes time. And in my people build walls, especially high status, high value people in high demand, people who get approached every day by people asking them for attention, money, other resources. They build walls around them, so you cannot really jump over those walls. So you have to be persistent, and you have to know that it takes time. High status, high value people are actually searching for other people to invest into. They know that social capital can bring a lot of value. It's just that in order for high status, high value people to invest in you, you have to prove yourself first. And that only takes time and effort. And relationships are built on a consistent, timely basis. You cannot build some good relationship overnight. So this should be, I think this should be a mindset.
Basically, and my 2 cents on this is that for everybody out there, and we already talked about this, so the mindset should be, don't go trying to, start off the relationship about how can that person help you, but rather how can you add value to your relationship so that that relationship can later on add value to both of you. In that case, absolutely. And later on to you. So
absolutely.
This is not. This is the explanation of, can I get a job? Can I get a job? About, I want to help you. Tell me how to help you, and then you'll help me with advice, job, whatever.
Yeah, and that's exactly the giver's mentality. The person who hasn't yet taken something from you, but already offering some sort of help. That's the giver mentality.
Exactly. So. We're coming to the end, so I'm thrilled. I think we talked a lot about networking, some good points here. I hope that everybody in the audience will take some of this advice and apply to them, because this is the only way that world works today. So everybody that's greedy, everybody that's closed off, they're just not going to be successful. They can be to a certain point, or they can work at a mediocre job to a certain point, but they cannot advance both in their social life or in their business life. And this is very important if you want to be an entrepreneur, which is not for everybody. And this is very important if you just want to add to your social life in that sense. Andrey, thank you very much again for your time. Do you have anything to add in the end?
I will just probably the final point, that I don't want, also to go into another extreme where you want to just network and not actually execute. Mm-hmm. So, networking is a marketing tool. If you are not delivering, if you are not executing, if you are bad at something, networking will just spread the word out about you. So, of course, the core has to be, you have to be the giver, you have to be an executor, you have to actually deliver some value to other people, and that's the best way to actually network. You might know all the tactics and strategies of networking, but if you are not going to actually be meaningful to other people, it's not going to have any effect. So, deliver, execute, and don't think about only what you want, think about what other people want and what is demand on the market, and that's how business is done. That's
fantastic. And that works both if you have your own business or if you want to work for somebody. So the goal is to to execute whatever skills you have in that sense. Andrey, thank you very much for your time again. For everybody else, thank you for being with us. Talk to you in 2 weeks on another episode of Webinarium. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.